In the quiet corners of human interaction, there exists a subtle, unsettling shift that often goes unnoticed until it is far too late. Trust is a fragile architecture, and when it begins to fracture, the signs are rarely loud. They are quiet, calculated, and deeply revealing. In the winter of 2018, a group of researchers began tracking behavioral patterns in high-stakes professional environments. They sought to identify the precursors to betrayal. What they found was not a sudden explosion of malice, but a slow, systematic withdrawal. The first sign is the sudden, unexplained reduction in communication. A person who once shared details of their day suddenly becomes a vault. They offer only surface-level responses, avoiding the intimacy of shared information. It is a defensive perimeter being built in real time. You watch the words dry up. You notice the hesitation before they speak, the way they measure every sentence to ensure nothing of substance escapes. The bridge is not collapsing yet, but the supports are being removed one by one, leaving you standing on a structure that has already lost its foundation. The second sign manifests in the body. You notice the eyes first. They no longer meet yours during conversation, darting toward the floor or the periphery of the room. It is not shyness, it is a deliberate avoidance of connection. Their posture shifts, becoming rigid and defensive. They lean away when you approach, creating a physical gap that mirrors the growing mental distance. Then comes the third sign, the most insidious of all, the rewriting of history. They begin to dredge up old grievances, turning minor, long-settled disagreements into fresh, throbbing wounds. They recount events with a new, bitter inflection, reframing your shared past as a series of calculated slights. A joke from 3 years ago is now an insult. By painting themselves as the victim of your past actions, they build a moral justification for the betrayal. The fourth sign arrives as a series of small, calculated intrusions. They begin to test your boundaries with trivial, seemingly harmless requests. They ask for access to your private files, or perhaps they demand you change your schedule to accommodate their sudden, unexplained priorities. Each request is a probe, a way to gauge how much control they can exert before you finally push back. If you yield, they take more. It is a slow encroachment, a systematic dismantling of your personal autonomy. Then, the fifth sign emerges. A sharp, relentless focus on your minor mistakes. They become hypercritical of details that never mattered before. A typo in an email becomes evidence of your incompetence. A 5-minute delay is framed as a sign of disrespect. They magnify every flaw, holding your errors under a microscope to create a moral buffer. By convincing themselves that you are fundamentally flawed, they manufacture a sense of righteousness. They are not betraying a partner. They are correcting a problem. You find yourself constantly apologizing for things that were never your fault, while they stand back, cold and observant, waiting for the next slip. The sixth sign does not happen in the shadows of your relationship. It happens in the open, right in front of you, yet you miss it until the geometry of your world shifts. They begin to build alliances with your rivals. You see them lingering by the coffee machine with the person who has always opposed your projects. You notice them sharing lunch with a competitor who lost the bid you won. These are not casual encounters, they are strategic summits. Information flows across these new bridges while your line goes dead. They share your vulnerabilities, framing your strengths as weaknesses to those who have no stake in your well-being. They are securing their future, ensuring that when the fire starts, they have a place to land. The micro-turn arrives when you walk into a meeting and feel the silence hit. The aggressor is sitting next to your rival, leaning in, nodding at a joke made at your expense. They do not pull away when you enter. They do not look guilty. They look settled. The alliance is already ratified. You realize then that the bridge behind you is not just burning. It has already collapsed. They have spent weeks constructing a safety net made of your enemies. You are no longer fighting a single person. You are facing a coalition. They have isolated you not by pushing you away, but by pulling everyone else closer. They have checked their landing spot, and now they are ready to jump. The seventh sign is the most chilling. An eerie, unnatural calmness. As the moment of betrayal arrives, the anxiety vanishes. It is replaced by a cold, detached efficiency. They have already emotionally exited the relationship, leaving you to interact with a hollow shell. When the final blow lands, there is no heat, no anger, only the silence of a finished transaction. You look at them and realize the person you trusted is gone. Why do we ignore the warnings? Is it a refusal to accept the fragility of our bonds, or is there something about the human condition that blinds us? The patterns remain, etched into the history of every broken trust. Once crossed, it can never be uncrossed. Some truths are better left in the shadows.